Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally in Trinidad and Tobago, TTPS defends Alexander amid allegations. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has publicly defended Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander, rejecting claims he secretly met alleged gang leader Raji Ali. A letter dated January 17th and signed by Assistant Commissioner Richard Smith surfaced online confirming Alexander had official permission to accompany Smith to visit Ali, then an inmate at the maximum security prison. Smith stressed that Alexander had not done anything wrong or illegal and was acting on instructions of his superiors, people. The visit is now being challenged by attorney Crystal Primus, representing acting prison superintendent Garth Guada, who claims the meeting was improper and possibly linked to pre-election deals. Yeah, sounds like a PNM narrative being pushed, isn't it? All right, Alexander, who resigned from the TTPS to contest the Tunapuda seat for the UNC in April, has threatened to sue over the allegations. I hope he does, unless they retract their statements and make a public apology for what they were trying to, that allegation that they were making against the man. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar said she has full confidence in Alexander, citing documents she had seen and indicating he will give his explanation soon. Once again, I will say it, my brother, it's one thing to criticize you if you're doing certain things that you don't agree with, but making false allegations against you, you have all rights whatsoever to take legal action. Sleep better. Say goodbye to stiff necks, headaches, and restless nights. Our premium cervical pillow is designed to perfectly support your neck and spine, keeping your body aligned while you sleep. Soft yet firm, it adapts to your shape, giving you ultimate comfort and deep, rejuvenating rest. Whether you sleep on your back, side, or stomach, this pillow reduces pressure points, eases tension, and helps you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer the day. Invest in your sleep. Your neck will thank you. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and feel the difference from the very first night. 30 sites in Trinidad and Tobago, both onshore and underwater, were part of the nationally coordinated coastal cleanup exercise headed by the Ministry of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development. This year's waste count consisted of approximately 986 pounds of plastic, 112 pounds of glass, and 2,600 pounds of miscellaneous items such as appliances, electronics, and tires. People, as a people, oh God, boy, with this really little, you know, boy. I guilty of it at times as well, but my goodness, boy, look at the amount of waste that was collected. Once again, this little story here reminds us why we do need maintenance workers here in Trinidad and Tobago. I honestly believe that CPEP and URP needs to be disbanded, but hire individuals, the same individuals who are genuinely working for CPEP and URP, give them permanent jobs under the Ministry of Works so that they can continue to perform these important duties. Because as much as we should ensure that we do not pollute our environment, there's always going to be some level of garbage on the roadways. And besides that, nature itself, grass grows and grows very quickly here in Trinidad and Tobago. You cut grass this week, by the next week or two, you need to cut grass again. So people, maintenance work is extremely important. And I hope the Kamala Prasad administration really takes that into consideration. And she said that she was going to provide better jobs for individuals. And I hope that really does mean that she will give these maintenance workers proper salaries, a permanent job, which will be respectable, and they will be able to go and obtain a loan if they need to be able to expand their homes or invest in a business or whatsoever. Ladies, meet your new go-to bag, our mega duffel handbag, perfect for your travel, shopping, the gym, and everything in between. Crafted from premium Oxford material, it's not just stylish, it's built to last. The ideal size, flawless design, and unbeatable quality make it the bag you'll reach for every time. Versatile and ready for anything. WhatsApp 762-6589 to order yours today. Some regional news now. In defense of Guyana's sovereignty on the world stage, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali told the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly that Venezuelans' continued threats of annexation are a direct assault on international law and the very principles that uphold global order. Guyana is a small and peaceful state. And you see, this is what hurts me most of all. When I see fellow Trinis supporting Venezuela and demonizing America for their war against terrorism and narco-terrorism in particular, drug trafficking and drug traffickers, human traffickers. It hurts me even more because you know why? We all know that Maduro has been attempting to annex almost half of Guyana for years now. And the international courts have been trying to intervene, but they're taking a million years. And it doesn't seem as though they really even care in the first place. And they have no way to be able to enforce anything or to force Maduro into submission. America can get it done though, because they will use military force. That's the thing about it. So it's like really and truly, it seems as though Trinidadians just don't care about our neighbors, our brothers right there in Guyana. Are we our brothers' keepers? I'm telling you, the hearts of mankind, especially here in Trinidad and Tobago, is becoming so selfish, so cold, so hard. I mean, you really have to wonder what is going on when people can be so obsessed with tribalism, so obsessed with their hatred for the white man, America, because they love the white man. So because Maduro is basically a white man. He's just Spanish, right? Russia is led by a white man, Putin, but he's an autocrat. He's a communist. He's a dictator. He's a tyrant. It shows how hypocritical these individuals on the radical left are, because you so hate the white man America, but you love the white man Russia. You love the Chinese, China, President Xi, but yet the Chinese, the normal Chinese man in Trinidad, or the migrant who came here to open up the Chinese restaurant or supermarket, all is discriminating against them, you know. But you love President Xi. Something with you all, you have an obsession with communism, with dictators. I mean, I just don't understand it. And yet you all love freedom because all you love to bump all your gum online all the time, rah, insulting this one on that one. But you cannot go and live in Russia. You cannot go and live in China and be criticizing the governments across there. You will not be able to go and criticize Putin if you go to Russia. You will be silenced. And many times it's either you end up in prison or you end up 6 feet under. But you all don't care about that. Because you see, you have been indoctrinated since children to be against the colonials. And the main colonial power that you have been indoctrinated to despise are the British. That is what. And of course, the British and America are almost the same. So that's why you despise both of them that much. Although nobody really studies about those from the Dutch or the Spanish and stuff like that, you know. Everybody, when they think about the white man, is America and Great Britain. It is so ignorant and arrogant of people. I will just never get it. No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. Prevents damage to phones and battery issues. Better gaming experience and streaming. USB powered and fast charging. Lightweight and quiet. Ideal for kids and adults. Works with all smartphones. makes a great gift. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Some news from Jamaica. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says regulation of peer-to-peer accommodation, such as Airbnbs, remains a priority, with over 30% of last year's 4.3 million visitors to the island opting for such stays. Speaking at a JPEX breakfast event on Tuesday at the Jewel Grand Hotel in Montego Bay, Bartlett clarified that Airbnb itself is just a brand, a particular brand, and a business model, but the government is addressing the wider peer-to-peer accommodation sector, which he described as the fastest growing accommodation subsector within the tourism. Anytime you start to hear government talk about regulation, you know what that means? Tax, tax, tax. And I keep saying it over and over again, something with Andrew Holness and the way his supporters were only talking about race. They remind me a whole lot of the Emperor Thanos Rowley's Mighty Morphin Ghanayam PNM here in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not really against regulations, but I'm telling you, a lot of the times when you start to hear a government talking about that, is because basically all they want to do is just go and tax the life out of these individuals, and most of the times these are small business owners. Caribbean Airlines will discontinue its Fort Lauderdale to Montego Bay and Fort Lauderdale to Kingston routes effective November 2nd, 2025, just a few months after resuming the service following a 5-year hiatus. The airline explained that the suspension is part of its ongoing network optimization program, which it says requires continuous evaluation of routes to guarantee sustainability and efficiency. This decision is a strategic step to ensure the continued viability of Caribbean Airlines. It can't continue making a deficit to the people. It just cannot continue. Otherwise, it's going to have to shut down, And I don't want that. Matter of fact, I would love if Caribbean Airlines could return to its original the name that it had, BWIA. That is what I really hope. But anyhow, the decision is a strategic step to ensure the continued viability of Caribbean Airlines operations in the face of evolving market conditions, the company said in a statement. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 9D panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. Detectives in Clarendon have launched a probe into a double murder in the Agro Park Farms areas of 4 Paths in Clarendon on Tuesday. The deceased have been identified as 24-year-old Patrick Rick Thompson of Rhymesbury, Clarendon, and a 28-year-old Janelle Squaddy Callaghan of Bullard Content, Yorktown, also in the parish. And that's, of course, news from Jamaica. Hopefully, justice will be served. But in the Caribbean, most of the times, these type of crimes never end up being solved. But we shall see. International news now. Orange County Public Schools in Florida has directed West Orange High School to stop promotion of witchcraft in a video series that had been airing school-wide. Literal witchcraft, people. We're not talking about the little wizards of Waverly Place and stuff like that, people. Literal demonic witchcraft is what these schools were pushing and promoting. That is the radical left. You must know when the radical left Democrats are involved. Liberty Counsel had confronted the school for allowing the series, which was aired during midweek morning announcements. teaching spells, magic, moon worship, and other witchcraft rituals. Everybody will say, but that people choice about that in the schools. You want to do that kind of evil on your own? That is your problem. That is between you and God. You cannot be trying. It's the same thing when they were trying to indoctrinate the little children into believing about critical race theory, turning everybody against white people and even turning the white little children against themselves, making them believe that they are evil and born racist and all kind of utter nonsense. And then they went even further and also were indoctrinating the little children into believing that boys can be girls and girls can be boys. Now they're going with witchcraft. The left is seriously demon-possessed. The whole movement is demonic. And that is why when people talking about unity, I cannot see unity. It doesn't mean that I wish death upon anyone. It doesn't mean I wouldn't have friends that are Democrats or far leftists. But I am never going to agree with them. So you cannot tell me about unity and peace. Because if they bring up anything speaking about their kind of leftist ideologies, I will tell them plainly, no, I don't agree with you. And that's how you're supposed to be. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. The left complains about gun violence, even though their terrorists are the perpetrators of mass shootings 99% of the times. Now, that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but it is definitely in the majority, people. When you look at the news reports and you see the descriptions of the individuals and you hear what the type of posts that they were making online and whatsoever, they are far left radicals or jihadists. They are not, most of the times, they are not Republicans or conservatives. Just check it for yourself and you'll see. And yet Trinidadians, there are a lot of Trinidadians who will still comment, or Jamaicans will comment and say, no, it's not, it's Republicans. It's just blatant lies because the evidence is there to show and to prove that's radical leftists. The shooter at the Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE detention facility in Dallas is Joshua Jean, 29 years old. The bullets had messages associated with the radical far left. Once again, I'm telling you, the evidence always indicates which side of the political arena a person belongs to. And the bullets had on it this writing, F ICE. He shot 3 detainees, killing 2 of them, and was shot dead himself. Now look at that. You so care about the immigrants, and yet it's the immigrants that you shot at. Telling you, it is just the radical left are demon-possessed. Speaking about demon possession, there is a little sect of the far right that is also cuckoo. QAnons, of course, a part of the far right. QAnon's false messiah Putin is exposing his sinister agenda more and more every day. Norway revealed that Russia has violated its airspace 3 times for this year over Finnmark in the north and the Barents Sea. It's the first time Russia has violated Norway's airspace in over 10 years. And that's why it amazes me how Trinidadians continue to support this man. And I've been saying that years now. That Putin didn't just want to annex Crimea and Donbass or whatever it is. Another place close to the border of Russia. What he was just give him those areas because it's mostly Russians living in those areas, and you take it, and that's all he wants, and whatever, and bam, bam, and then he wants to secure his borders so that the UN and stuff like that wouldn't be a threat to him. He doesn't care about that. He's just using that as an excuse. I've been saying that years now. Putin is a demon-possessed man, and he has been trying to revive, to rebuild the USSR. That is what he really wants, and his actions now are proving that. His actions are proving exactly that. So, at the end of the day, this is also a sign that we could definitely be coming closer to the Ezekiel war, and it's very possible that Putin himself will be the king of the north, who will lead all the different nations like Turkey and some other countries to attack Israel. And God himself will actually encourage to an extent, set a trap. It's not really encouraged, but set a trap for Putin or whoever the leader of Russia will be at that point in time to come and attack Israel. But this time, not America and not even Israel will be able to conquer these individuals. God himself shall intervene supernaturally and utterly destroy Israel's enemies. You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. The IAEA, head of the Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has increased uranium enrichment to 90%, people. That Trump. You to blame for that, huh? My response, Donald Trump should have never forced Israel to end their war prematurely in Iran. The Ayatollahs should have been completely crushed so that the people of Iran would have been able to restore democracy in their country after decades of oppression and persecution. Well, the Trinidadians will say, no. The Ayatollah should have been completely crushed and destroyed. The Iranians want the liberation, and anytime there's a revolt in Iran, the Ayatollah ends up killing thousands of people. Turkey, a so-called NATO ally, harbors radical Islamic terrorists, buys Russian weapons, occupies an EU country, Cyprus, and threatens fellow NATO member Greece and targets Kurds in the Middle East. And they should not be allowed to purchase additional F-16 fighter jets or re-enter the F-35 program. That's according to Amir Safati, and I fully agree with him. These radical jihadist nations should not be given extra weapons to what? Attack who? Israel and their neighboring countries? Nearly 700,000, listen to this, people. Nearly 700,000 Gaza residents have evacuated the city of Gaza so far, according to IDF estimates. The chief of staff made an unusual appeal to the residents of Gaza. He said, rebel and separate from Hamas, which is responsible for your suffering. And that's exactly what's taking place. Hamas just wants to keep them there to use them as human shields. The war and suffering will end if Hamas releases the hostages and gives up its weapons. Do you ever see do you hear Putin pleading with Ukrainians? Do you ever see any nation that intends to commit genocide pleading with the population, leave certain areas for your own safety? And that's exactly what the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, the Israel Defense Force, the heads of the Defense Force are pleading with the Gazans, in spite of knowing that the Gazans will erase them off the face of the earth today if they have the opportunity to do so. And we're talking about the civilians, but they are not official members of Hamas. So Israel is saying, listen, you are so-called civilians, please leave Gaza so that we can end this war with Hamas. Thankfully, 700,000 is the vast majority of the population, and therefore, the so-called genocide that Israel, that the entire world accuses Israel of committing cannot take place because most of the population is now gone. Anyone that decides to remain with Hamas are choosing to do so of their own free will. Amr Safati made this post on Telegram yesterday. He said, Syrian self-proclaimed President Ahmad al-Shara, formerly Abu Mohammed al-Julani, leader of Al-Qaeda's branch in Syria, spoke tonight, well, that was last night, from the UN podium. And that was shameful. And once again, but I mean, Trump at this point in time doesn't really even have much control over the UN meetings. As a matter of fact, he was sabotaged as well. But he didn't have to go and shake Al-Julani's hand or anything like that either, and that was wrong. Trump does not understand up to now that you do not try to be diplomatic with terrorists. You just don't. You should not be doing that. My response, though, the world is recognizing terrorists who murder anyone who refuses to convert to their so-called peaceful faith. It's so peaceful that you murder people once they refuse to convert. How peaceful, isn't it? As legitimate leaders of countries while accusing Israel of genocide. The spirit of the Antichrist is becoming more dominant as we draw closer to the tribulation period. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, yes, his name is actually Israel, wishing a full recovery to the wounded from the UAV attack in Eilat. The Houthi terrorists refuse to learn from Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza, but will end up learning the hard way. Whomever harms Israel will be harmed sevenfold, and I fully agree with what he's saying. This is what I can't understand with Trinidadians. If you have your child is being bullied at school, wouldn't you want to take action? Wouldn't you want your child to defend himself or herself as well? So why Israel should not be able to retaliate? Bold-faced people are telling you in this world, but what the main reason why is because they're either controlled by ideologies or they're controlled by their own hatred, the so-called white man. Archaeologists in Israel just uncovered a treasure hoard of 22 bronze coins hidden in tunnels near Galilee, tied to a forgotten Jewish uprising. Listen, Jewish, not Palestinian, a Jewish uprising against Rome. These coins date back 1,600 years, 1,600 years to the Gallas Revolt, which occurred between 351 to 352 CE, AD, as I would usually call it. They call it the current era now, but I grew up knowing it as AD. The last Jewish revolt against Roman rule, once again, proving the existence of the Jewish people. Amr Safati went on, said, a fun fact, this is before Islam was ever born, because Islam started to become into existence in 610 AD. So this was approximately 250 years before that time. He said, a fun fact, this is before Islam was ever born and before any Arab ever set foot into the land of Israel. Let's keep things in perspective. Once again, posted by Amr Safati, or I believe, or somebody here. Sometimes he posts things reposts stuff from other individuals. But this was also posted from Amr Safati. He said, let's keep things in perspective. Even before the October 7th massacre, 148 countries, about 75% of UN members had already recognized a Palestinian state. At that time, it was nothing more than a state on paper. And that recognition had no effect on the reality on the ground. Another 10 to 12 countries doing the same now won't change that either. They cannot bully Israel. And I'm telling you, God is going to intervene during the Ezekiel war. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority refuses to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. Why doesn't the UN force or mandate or require the Palestinian Authority to recognize a Jewish state? Huh? And they also pay stipends to terrorists in Israeli prisons, calculated by how many they murder. They pay people to commit murder, you know, people die. Jihad for them, you know. It's spiritual, you know. It's a blessing, you know. When they go into paradise, they get in virgins, you know. They also teach children through textbooks that Israel has no right to exist. I've been telling you all that for a long time now. You see the videos, the little babies, the little children, preschool and all, kindergarten, are being told, are being taught, and being indoctrinated into believing that Israel is evil and should be wiped off the face of the earth, and that they should also grow up proudly to become martyrs for their jihadist sake. It is demonic. It's a death cult. That's exactly what it is. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. You may not always agree with everything that I'm saying. Nevertheless, like, comment, share. subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.